the world. I'm doing my health routine and of course every morning. And if anybody has any questions today, because I've been getting actually messages, and I'm always willing to answer any of you guys' questions, but people have been asking about the differences between like oxygen, hydrogen, even hydrogen peroxide, and even asking about the mixture and things like what's called Brown's gas, stuff like that, and what's the best. And I guess if people have those questions, I'll answer them. Let me get started though with my morning breakfast, which is filled with a ton of nutrients. That's basically the goal. Like I said many times in other videos, doing the blood work that I do to make sure that what I'm doing is working, because you always want to put your stuff to the test, and I have. And of course, yes, the blood work has shown extremely good results, which is why I continue to do this, and it works perfect. Okay, so the first thing I start with is my nutrients, because no matter what I put in this smoothie, it's not going to be enough. That's just the way that it is. And if you have any questions while you're watching, you're always welcome to ask. And I can talk about the oxygen, hydrogen, thing if you guys would like also, but I'll probably wait till some people get in the room. So the first product I start with, this is actually, everything has to do with purity. If you're trying to get healthy, look, I will tell you, I don't give any medical advice, I don't make any medical claims, and I don't make any claims for or against any product or products. But with that being said, I am really big on purity. It's something that helped me overcome a lot of my medical issues. And so this product right here, it's called Power Shake, for people who want to know. It's from a website called ishoppurium.com. And if you want a big discount on it, you can use the code uprising144K if you like. But this is basically my multivitamin. If I don't put this in my smoothie, I'm definitely not going to get enough nutrients. So that is a huge staple to what I'm doing here. And you know what I like? I used to use a different product, but I'm always looking at the lab tests, looking for pesticides and impurities and things of that nature. And by the way, again, feel free to ask any question you want. I was going to talk about hydrogen and oxygen and different things like that because people seem confused by it. Even, again, hydrogen peroxide, mixture of both of them, things like that. Okay, so the next one is turmeric or turmeric. A lot of good, whether it's anti-inflammatory properties, maybe all these ingredients are either going to be anti-inflammatory, anti-parasitic, or anti-cancerous, in my opinion. Of course, I'm a data guy, so that's typically from research I read. The next thing that I'm putting in here, actually, this one's kind of good. This one's from rncstore.com. You don't have, none of these you have to use. Only the one that's from Purium is, for me, an absolute necessity. I got to have that one. That one's like my multivitamin. These are just extra stuff that I like to put in. This is from rncstore.com. Again, lab tested. And if you do want a discount code also, same code, so is uprising144K. Now this one has been shown also to potentially have anti-cancer properties, and of course B17 and whatnot. But for me, it's very important to try to consume foods that are anti-cancerous, anti-parasitic, literally every day, because I am trying to keep that bug at bay. Okay, the next one is cacao, white cacao. Well, it does appear to be really good for your regenerative of stem cells, but it also appears to be good for the brain. It actually appears to have a lot of good benefits, good minerals, good nutrients. I mean, just a lot of benefits. And I like these raw ingredients. If you look at the ingredients that I use, everything is just raw. Now, I did load up, for people who don't know, I loaded up on hydrogen water before I do this. So I did load up on that. And now that I'm thinking about it, there's something else I forgot to take. I should probably grab it right now real quick while I'm waiting. Let's see here. While I'm waiting to make my smoothie, I think I've shown it to you guys before. Here, hold on a second. Sorry for stopping here in the middle of everything. I like to take these pills on an empty stomach, so give me a second. Okay. And for those of you who, I guess, want to see what I'm taking, I'll show you. Hold on a second. It's a pretty special pills from a specific extract of the most powerful mushroom in Japan, Corylus versicolor. You can find these. What's the name of the website? It's hman.com. petclub247.com. Amazing for the immune system. And I'd like to tell you what they've seen it do. Okay, I'll tell you what they've seen it do in animals. How's that? I won't make any claims about humans or anything, but they have seen all sorts of kind of tumors and stuff disappear in animals, and it's been pretty amazing, actually. So if you're scared that you're dealing with that, or you are dealing with that, hey, it's up to you, but I know what I would do. Now this one, oh my goodness, the health benefits of this is just off the charts. Now this is organic green matcha. I get my stuff from Japan. Why from Japan? I've seen the lab tests. Again, I'm a data-driven guy, and I saw the stuff that comes out of other countries like China, and it actually scared me. Even though it was organic, it was worse. Let's just say it wasn't good. The one from Japan came back the best, and the Japanese are just next level. I mean, they're amazing. And so, yeah, and the benefits, whether it's anti-parasitic, anti-cancerous, anti-inflammatory, potentially good for telomeres, meaning for longevity, long life. Just amazing stuff. Okay, I'll be right back to continue making my breakfast. As crazy as that sounds to a lot of people, they're like, this is what you eat for breakfast? So see, I loaded up with all the good stuff first. That's the way I do it. You don't have to do it that way. And so, I'm not sure if anybody in this room is interested in the whole oxygen, hydrogen conversation. Nobody seems to be making any comments or questions. And I didn't want to go into it unless people really wanted to hear it. I was putting in the title because I've been getting a lot of questions about it lately. And that's why I was going to touch on it today. But I'm always happy to answer any questions that you guys have or any subject you guys really want to talk about. So like I said, you're welcome to ask whatever you want. We can go in any direction. I know there were some people who were messaging me, and I told them, hey, so I'm just going to go live. I'm kind of busy, but you're welcome to get on live and ask whatever question. That way, people can actually hear, the answers or the questions and kind of go from there. I am putting super greens, of course. Why? Well, you should see the epigenetic studies on super greens. It's pretty awesome. So that's why I'm doing it. We're talking kale, spinach, chard, good stuff. Okay. That's what I'm doing. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you have to do, obviously. But that's what I choose to do. So this is my morning breakfast. I guess I could tell you why it's important. Let's see, Lisa says, I have been taking moringa and I'm amazed how good you feel. I love it. Hi, says Martine. Yeah, I used to put moringa in the smoothie every day. I think it's really good too. It's kind of expensive, and I'm always trying to, and I do change it up too, here and there. But yeah, I'm a fan of moringa. And I'm also a fan of something called neem. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I try to find stuff, that I can find at the store and that can be cost effective because this is my breakfast every day, Martine says, I was just going to ask about moringa too. Did you ever use it? Actually, yeah, like I said, yeah, I used to put it in my smoothie regularly. If you were to find some old videos, I will say I probably prefer matcha green tea, to be honest, and it tastes better. But hey, nothing wrong with changing up whatever smoothie you are creating, or tea, or whatever it is however it is that you want to do it. All right, so super greens for me. I will tell you, a lot of people, I personally, it's funny, I'm starting to see people copy these smoothies that I'm making, and I've been doing it for years, but there's so many interesting attributes to a lot of these foods, especially the one that I don't think people think about enough, and I know it's going to become a huge health trend. The data's coming out of Japan. Somebody's probably going to try to make a product and sell something, though I say personally, I mean, I'm talking about the data, and that's fiber. Supplements, you can supplement fiber, it's fine. There's nothing necessarily wrong with you supplementing fiber. But what the Japanese are discovering is that the fiber from every single fruit and vegetable is actually different. So it's not all the same. So it's not like just saying, oh, I'll just take psyllium husk, which again, there's nothing wrong with psyllium husk. I'm just saying that I think we're going to be learning in time, because we're so, dare I say, humans, in my opinion, there's so much they still don't understand, even about food and diet, that everybody argues about it. I think it's pretty simple, personally. That's just my personal opinion. But we're learning more and more about food. So I'm going to do organic blueberries. I'm a big fan of just berries in general. These obviously super good for the vascular system, also anti-angiogenic. So basically it appears to be good for something like cancer, and appears to be good for the heart. And of course you're going to get minerals, vitamins, stuff like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, let's see, what are we going to do next? I think I'm going to go with ginger. Ginger seems to be really good. Why neem? Neem is also very anti-parasitic and has a lot of other properties actually that are really good. I know, I have to go back and read all of them, but I know that it was anti-parasitic. That was the main reason I was using it. Refractor says, how do you feel about cold pressed juice since it doesn't have the fiber? Now, Refractor, that is an excellent question. It depends, because are you talking about cold pressed juices that you buy at the store, you know, out of some container, or are you talking about you know, making the juice? I will say that the stuff from the store, I mean, I've made juice on my own, and then I've bought in cold pressed juice from the store. It just doesn't taste the same. And we know that there's certain properties in food that are basically get lost. It's one of the reasons that I'm using this vacuum blender, because, and we'll see if it works, I might have broken it yesterday, so that it doesn't allow the food to oxidize. And you're gonna see how the vacuum blender works, where it sucks all the oxygen basically out of the blender, which is pretty cool. And I would say personally, I mean, there's nothing wrong with juices, you know, as far as cold pressing juice or juicing certain fruits and vegetables. But in time, and I've done both for sure, and I will say juicing is much more expensive, much more time consuming, doesn't really give you enough sustenance to make you last a day. Hold on a second. And so, like I said, I don't have anything against it, but we're learning so much more about fiber these days, that fiber is so important. I mean, okay, so I can share a bunch of different stuff. I'll share one of the reasons that I became a huge fan. So the Japanese basically discovered that when you eat vegetables first thing in the morning, which is kind of wild, it's like, wait a second, okay. First of all, who eats vegetables? Somebody tell me if you eat vegetables first thing in the morning. Now granted, the first thing I do in the morning is actually wash my mouth. And that's because of data from the Japanese, again, that we grow pretty nasty bacteria in our mouth while we're sleeping. It appears some of it might even be cancer causing. And so always brush your teeth in the morning, but I do it without toothpaste. And make sure to brush the inner surfaces of your mouth, like your roof, your tongue. Just because you don't use toothpaste doesn't mean it doesn't get the bacteria off. It really helps. And then I drink my hydrogen water. So hydrogen water, and not just any hydrogen water, I use the cleanest water and then the cleanest best hydrogen. So I do the best, because it's all about purity, guys. I'm telling you, that's just my opinion, but you got to have the cleanest water. You got to have the cleanest, you know, hydrogen without byproduct. Some people are literally trying to filter their hydrogen, which to me kind of means that you're making it incorrectly, because you're trying to filter out toxic garbage out of it. Whereas if you made it right, you wouldn't have to worry about that. And so then who eats vegetables first thing in the morning? I mean, really, anybody out there? Stored juices don't have live enzymes. There you go. I would agree with that too. They're just not as alive, and they just don't taste the same either. And fiber has so many benefits, from, like I was just telling you about, eating, for example, vegetables first thing in the morning, appearing to help regulate blood glucose levels all day long. That's what the Japanese found, all day long. Now, can you imagine that? All day long. Now, they didn't even know why. And this is why I love research, because it ended up revealing something about the human body that nobody knew. This is probably going to rewrite medical books. You know, and they discovered it was something to do with our GI system. I mean, I could tell you what it is if somebody really wants to know, but what I'll tell you is the fiber basically help regulate blood glucose all day long, which, by the way, is extremely important. You never want your blood glucose too high or too low. You need a balance. Life is all about balance. And I don't even know if I need to explain to you guys why it's important to regulate blood glucose. I mean, I could give you one example that hopefully will shed light on that. Were you aware that drinking 1 can of soda pop, I won't name any brands, just 1 can, and you get that sugar spike obviously, but it appears to increase your risk of bacterial and viral and probably other types of infections. So it increases your risk for infection for like 6 hours. And on top of that, it also suppresses your immune system for that roughly amount of time, 6 to 8 hours. So you don't want huge sugar spikes, at least not from processed sugar. All sugar does get processed differently. For people who don't know that or understand that, there is research on that also. And that's the beauty of, you know, fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and beans and all this type of stuff, is that it's paired with fiber. And it's not just paired with fiber. I mean, I was talking about it helping to control blood glucose. Let me put some hydrogen water in this. Hold on a second. Get going with that. See if I have enough space in this little blender. I gotta say, I missed the bigger picture, but I do like, and then these are hydrogen chia seeds I made. Hydrogen chia seeds, full of fiber, full of omegas, full of minerals, and I'm telling you right now, whoa, this thing's really tight on there. I got it. I think I vacuum sealed it, didn't I? Oh, there we go, I got it. All right, let's get some of that in there. It gives it a nice texture too. Chia seeds are so good for you. Okay. Next, if you notice, one of the key components to my protocols is actually hydration. So if you notice, I just got really hydrated with the hydrogen water first. And Twin says, peace. Hey, I'm into peace. It's like one of my favorite things, actually. Love to feel at peace. You know, when you have like, don't have to think about anything and you can relax. That's my favorite. I'm gonna be doing a lot of that very soon, by the way. I'll be sharing that later, so stay tuned. Okay, put a banana in there. Let's get some celery. Isn't this beautiful? I mean, I don't know, I think produce is almost like art. Look at this stuff. So beautiful. All right, thank God for organic farmers. I gotta say, I'm definitely voting with my dollars. I appreciate that people go through so much effort. And so the fiber, not only helping with regulating blood glucose, but it also appears to be helping with the absorption of nutrients and helping clean your system out. So it keeps everything moving, helping sweep the GI system, appears to be feeding good gut bacteria, all sorts of stuff that it does. And I'm not saying the juices are bad, and I've done both, and by far smoothies are more realistic. In my opinion, they're cheaper. They require way less produce. They fill you up. So I mean, what you're about to see me make, this stuff here sustains me till dinner. And you know what, that's kind of wacky. I mean, to be honest, I don't know how or why it's doing it, because I used to eat this and it just wasn't enough. And now it's definitely enough. So it's just crazy. So again, if you notice the theme here, a lot of water, a lot of fiber, a lot of minerals, a lot of nutrients. And that reminds me, now I remember what I missed. I got to put my fats in there too. Put some, there's fats in the chia seeds, by the way, but I'm going to put some other fats in here. Fats are important, and these are anti-cancerous if you do the research on walnuts, of course organic walnuts. Should have soaked them, I didn't have the time, but boy, they give it a nice flavor too. It really makes everything nice and creamy, though I don't know if I'm going to fit everything. You know, in order to blend this with the vacuum blender, you got to leave room at the top. And I'm not sure if there's going to be enough room. Maybe I won't be able to vacuum blend it. That would kind of suck, but I do prefer to vacuum blend it because the nutrients, that's the whole reason to do it, by the way, the nutrients stay more intact, less oxidation. I'm putting a little bit of raisins in here. Probably not a lot. It's just that they have natural boron. And I like to get as much as I can from my food rather than supplements. Chewing the hemp seed adds sustenance. Yes, I'm going to be putting those in. Also, let's see here. Let's push this down in here. Let's see if we can, how much we can fit, but I think we're running out of room. Oh boy. Okay, let's try the next one. I wish they made a bigger pitcher, though the company has told me, for those of you who are interested in the vacuum blender, the website is called void-system.com. And I think, well, you can use a discount code uprising144K. I think they give you a discount. And I believe they said they're going to be making a bigger pitcher. Now, not to revert back, well, you know, it's probably best, yeah, if people do ask questions, because then we can go on the subjects or questions that you guys have, because I get so many emails. I do my best to try to respond to everybody's questions, but when we're live like this, it's really a lot easier. And that way everybody gets to hear the question. And a lot of times people have the same questions. And carrots, by the way, also quite inexpensive, and these are organic. I mean, I get a whole bag for like $5-6. And I think it's like a 5-pound bag, roughly. So, and they also appear to be anti-parasitic. So you're seeing a theme here. Fiber, minerals, nutrients, fats, fruits, vegetables, nuts. I oftentimes put seeds in here, but I'm out of my flax seeds. But I did put the other one, I put apricot seeds. So there, and those have more fats too. But a lot of water and a lot of fiber. That's going to help with the absorption, keep the system clean. A lot of anti-parasitics, which also help keep the system clean. I'm really big on anti-parasitic stuff, mostly due to an experience I had. I had a very odd experience. And best health advice on your tube. Thank you, that's very kind, twins. And I had this really wild experience, which I probably won't go into great detail. All I'll say is that it surprised me so much that it literally caused me to change my life, and I do not want parasites inside of me, because then I started doing research, and there is clear evidence, by the way, and the Japanese have literally some of the best research in the world when it comes to parasites. I won't even name one of the drugs that they're the ones responsible for, because we don't have free speech, but all I can tell you is they clearly affect the way you think and the way you feel and things that you crave. They're infiltrating this body, and they really mess with you. And for me, I can't have that. It's happened in the past, and I can't have it. I am not going to let, you know, something influence me like that. I don't like it, and it doesn't bring happiness. I'll tell you that much. The parasites are not into bringing you happiness. So that was my experience, and so I'm like, nope, got to keep the body clean now. My body is no garbage machine. Gotta keep it clean. No, that's just me, right? I'm also big on free will and free choice, so whatever somebody wants to do with their body, hey, your body. Okay. Let's see about the vacuum blender. Let's see if I didn't break it yesterday. I think I got too much smoothie in there. Let's see. Somebody asked, what do you say to critics on YouTube saying the hydrogen machine you recommend is not better than any else is out there? Well, the thing is that, look, this is what people don't understand. I could recommend any machine I want. And that was originally, here, hold on a second. My true goal originally was obviously just for me to get better. And hydrogen ended up being the game changer. Now the thing is that it's actually more advantageous, because some people don't understand this. It's more advantageous for me to support and promote all the hydrogen machines out there if my goal is to make money, which is most of the people out there. Most of the people promoting stuff are doing it for the money. My goal was to actually go for the best produce, the best nutrients, the best water, best hydrogen. Okay, let's vacuum blend this, and I'll answer your question here in a second. Sorry, but check this out. You're gonna watch the water level go up. There we go, see it going up? I gotta stop it before it gets to the top. This thing's spitting out some old smoothie that I had in there yesterday. I did suck some into the pump. I hope it doesn't break the machine. You're not supposed to suck stuff up into it. Okay, let's keep going. And then when the water level gets too high, what I do real quick is I just blend it real quick. Let's see if it can. It's got the Japanese blades. And if I just do it a little bit, some of the air pockets, see how it drops? Now I can go again. Here we go. Okay. Vacuum still going up, see? Water getting real close. And that is very close. Okay, that's good. Well, actually, let's try again. Let's see if I can. Actually, I'm going to shut it off so that it doesn't turn on while we're blending a little bit. Oh, another air pocket. See? All right, one more time. Continuing to vacuum blend this here. Sucking all the oxygen out so it doesn't oxidize my vegetables and my fruits while I'm blending. And you know what? And that's plenty. I reached this level 17. 16 technically is enough. And let's go ahead and blend this up, and then I'll answer questions while I'm eating my breakfast. And by the way, I'm going to show you a few magic ingredients that are just, in my opinion, absolutely necessary for good health. I call them secret ingredients. And of course, when you're paired them with the smoothie, they become even that much more amazing. The blender likes to dance around when it encounters things like the carrots, things that are really, really hard to chop up. Okay, let's see. Okay, hold on a second. Let's grab the last of some of these ingredients that for me are absolutely necessary for my health. I can feel it still chopping stuff up, almost done. Oh yeah, and I think it's the carrot. It's probably a lot of things. And almost done with this vacuum. You're about to see the difference. Even the color is different, I've noticed, between a conventional blender and vacuum blender. Put a lot of stuff in there. I can tell it's still chopping stuff. All right, almost done. That should be good enough. Let's go ahead and show you guys the magic ingredients and then answer some of these questions. And if it's not chopped up, we'll just have to do it more. And I will say too, this lid is tricky to get off, though I finally learned a technique, and I'll show you guys this technique real quick. You lift up this vent, release the pressure, stick a tissue underneath it to keep the pressure valve open. Otherwise it gets real tricky. I like to use a towel just because when I do it every single day, my finger eventually gets a little cut on it. And I pull up on the corner here. Now, I'll tell you one thing, I could not do this before because I had such bad arthritis. And now, woohoo, I can. The hydrogen obviously made a difference. And you know what? It does depend on what type of hydrogen you make. That's been my experience and my research. Going back to answering the person's question who, I guess, what do they say? Let's see here. People say that the hydrogen machine I recommend is not better than anybody else's out there. Well, the thing is that what people don't realize, okay, it's like a lot of things. Is every supplement out there created equal? Definitely not. I've seen all sorts of supplements with all sorts of garbage in them when I see the lab tests. And all the hydrogen machines out there are all basically being made in China. Now, if you think that China has your best health and interest, well then continue to believe whatever it is you want to believe. Ironically, I didn't choose the machine I chose. I could choose any machine. I could promote 20 machines. And like I said, financially, I've been told many times, and I've been approached basically every single day, multiple times a day actually, by all sorts of different companies that, basically are like, hey, we can help you make more money. You should be promoting this, that, and the other. There's a lot of that. And I was always wanting to be committed to the viewers and show them just what the best is, because that's what I'm doing for myself. And what's ironic is there's a lot of companies that actually sell hydrogen machines that actually use the Hydrofix for themselves. And then they promote something else just because of the amount of money they want to make. But I just followed the data. The data led me to, and by the way, this is one of the secret ingredients, vitamin D3 in its ionic form with K2. Absolutely crucial, in my opinion, for good health. Vitamin D, I got to read and even listen to the #1 expert in the world, as far as the guy who's done more research on vitamin D than anybody else. He's actually a doctor who runs an entire hospital and was achieving things that no other hospital was achieving. Vitamin D is so ridiculously important. Now, granted, you don't want to take too much and you don't want too little, because life is all about balance. So I get my levels checked, so I know how much I need to take. And so I mix that in with the smoothie. So when I was looking at all the data for hydrogen, now granted, there's a lot of people out there who are probably either jealous of the Hydrofix or threatened by it. And you know what? If I was a company and carried some crappy device, I probably would be also. So then people try to make videos knocking on it and attacking it because they're threatened by it. But I just went off the data. And when I found the machine, it was kind of funny because one, it ended up being Japanese. And second, it says, is Jeff Bowles? I don't even know what that means. Anyway, what's funny about it, and by the way, this is the next ingredient. This also has not only good fats, it appears to have the best protein in the world, super well balanced omega-3s and 6s. And so, actually, shoot, it looks like I might have to go soon, guys. But to answer your question, going off the data, clearly this company made the best hydrogen in the world. They're using the best metal. They're using the best membrane. I got to see all these miracle of D3. Oh, there you go. See, yeah, I'm telling you, vitamin D is amazing. And I know technically it's a hormone, but whatever. It's amazing stuff. And let's try this out, actually. And answer more of your questions. Only for a little bit. I gotta go soon. And so, following strictly the data rather than people's opinions, or even products that are the most popular, but ironically, this machine ended up being, well, I say in the being, it is now obviously too, the #1 hydrogen machine in all of Japan. Also coming from the #1 hydrogen company in all of Japan. Now, originally there was actually 2 companies that were really big in Japan that I learned. And one of them, they both designed pretty good hydrogen machines. They went with different designs. One of them chose a design that would make good hydrogen water, technically safe. But the problem is they designed it and then they had it built in China. Well, that caused a lot of problems, especially reliability issues, but it just caused a lot of problems. The other company tried to go, which is a Hydrofix, they tried to go, well, the hard way. They didn't try to do the hard way on purpose. They did the hard way because it was the best way to do it, but it would have been very difficult. And they did. They developed the best metal you've ever seen in a hydrogen machine. Nobody even has that technology. There's only one company in the world that can do it, and there's only one hydrogen machine that doesn't, and that's the Hydrofix. There's a doctor in Japan who's a neurosurgeon, neuroscientist, and an actual hydrogen specialist, which you really don't see in the US. I know a lot of people claim to be hydrogen specialists. And so this guy only uses the Hydrofix for himself, and it's the only machine he recommends to his patients. He could recommend anything. In fact, on the Chinese products, you make more money. But he only wants to do the best for his patients and himself. So anyway, I know there's a lot of people say that out there, but Sorry, it's just not true. And so people can believe whatever they want to believe. Like I said, I go off of the data, and I wish that there was 10, 20, 30 good hydrogen machines out there, and I would probably mention them all. And I would tell everybody, hey, these are the good ones, these are the ones to stay away from. But the world of hydrogen has become such a wild, wild west, and people just do not understand. I've seen people use some of the worst hydrogen and make themselves sick. I've had countless emails of people getting sick on the wrong type of hydrogen, especially Brown's gas. Actually, it's the biggest emails I get, mostly because people use lye. Sodium hydroxide, guys, this is the main ingredient in Drano. Can you believe people use that stuff to make hydrogen when you don't have to? That means highly, highly inferior technology. You do not need to use something like that. And when you use plated metals, that's also inferior technology. China actually doesn't have very good, the science of metallurgy or the science of metals. China doesn't have really good technology there. Japan does. And hydrogen has everything to do with metals, guys. You have to understand the science of metals. And I did not like to do that kind of research, but I did it because it was important to me. And then obviously I just shared it with you guys because it was a lot of homework. I just give you guys the answers. It's kind of giving you the answers to a test. So anyway, I don't know if that answers anybody's questions, but if there's ever another good hydrogen machine out there, I will gladly tell you about it. As of right now, there isn't. They're actually, in my opinion, horrible. I can't believe some of them are even being sold on the market. Have you seen dark under eye circles reversed through hydrogen or diet, etc.? Yes. Now, in my opinion, I had a friend like this, and I would point it out to him like, dude, you got some dark circles under your eyes. It's a combination, in my opinion, of three potential things. One, nutritional deficiency. A lot of free radical damage. Parasites potentially because they rob you of nutrients, and most people have never really done a really good anti-parasitic cleanse. Hydrogen increasing blood flow, getting blood where it needs to be, which means bringing nutrients to the places where it needs to be. That's the reason that I load up on hydrogen water first before I even make this guy. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I am giving you guys what I've seen. And I go get blood work regularly. My doctor can't believe the rate at which I'm absorbing nutrients. They just think it's unbelievable. Think about it. This is all I'm having for breakfast. I'm not having this huge egg with, I don't know, omelet, you know, with a bunch of cheese or bacon and really dense, rich foods, which of course have no fiber. They don't really have probably almost any water in them. And I'm not saying that they don't have nutrients, because they do, but in my opinion, you want to be cautious about how you get your nutrients. You know, like, I don't eat pig. There's no way I'm going to eat pork. The science on parasites in pigs, oh my goodness, it's darn right scary. And so anyway, and how is this little bit giving me all the nutrients that I need? It's apparently pretty bonkers. The doctor's having a hard time. One doctor didn't even believe me. They're like, there's no way. There's no way you're eating like that, and I see your nutrient levels and they're at where they're at. They're like, this is not possible. I'm doing it. Do you have a video on parasites? I had many, but as we don't have free speech, my videos got taken down by YouTube. I used to make them a long time ago, way before any quote unquote scandemic or whatever. So yeah, your body is your temple. Absolutely. To me, it absolutely is. That's why I'm doing everything that I'm doing for it. And I'm just sharing information with you guys. That's it. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of work about what's the best. My health and my body are the most important thing in my life, other than happiness and good relationships and all that good stuff. But I can't have a good life without good health. I just can't. That's just my opinion. And I say that from somebody who used to be super crazy sick. Just can't. How does a hydrogen machine compare to a natural spring? What do you mean? Just like natural spring water? I mean, most natural spring waters don't have any hydrogen in them. As far as molecular hydrogen that is free flowing in the water, just the gas. You have to understand that hydrogen's a gas, and you're dissolving the gas into water. You're using water as a carrier. I guess the comparison would be that there is no hydrogen in the spring water. Plus, I don't know how pure they would be. I've seen too many lab tests that are kind of scary. So I always need to run water through my carbon distiller, especially to get parasites, bacteria, viruses, all that stuff out of the water. No water filter will do that. Only a carbon distiller. I use, again, the best ones. The ones that I use are from the United States. They're not from China. You can get them a little cheaper. I get the ones from a website called mypurewater.com. And again, if you want a small discount, they don't give me much, to be honest, but it helps the channel a little bit. And the code is uprising144K. You don't have to use the code if you don't want to. I'm just sharing what I use. And I try to get you guys discounts if I can. It's a win-win. Okay. Vital says, hi, Greg, question. Have you ever had live blood analysis to see the nanoparticles or with dark field microscope? Here, hold on one second. Yes, I actually have had a lot of different testing in regards to like heavy metals, parasites. You know, a lot of this stuff, to be quite honest with you, most of the blood work that I really like to do has to do with nutritional deficiencies. Why? Because look, let's talk about, for example, microplastics. I don't know if you guys have known about microplastics and how they appear to be affecting our health in a very negative way. Does anybody know the #1 source of microplastics, like where you're ingesting it? Nobody? It appears to be coming primarily from your water. Then, of course, you're going to get it from food and different stuff. But water is your #1 source, apparently. So when I use my carbon distiller, if you want, I'll show it to you right now. It's running right here, right now, right next to me. That thing, I got the lab tests, actually, if you guys really want to see them. Here's a third-party lab test. And if you were to see what's in our water, and by the way, it's not just one page, it's page after page after page. The stuff that's in our water is shocking. If you're sick and you're wondering why you're sick, you might want to take a look at your water. And then, of course, if you want to supercharge it and bring, in my opinion, the healing properties to it, that's where hydrogen comes in. And then, of course, if you want nutrients, that's where the smoothie comes in and all your minerals. And fiber. You see the research. In the old days, they did some research on fiber that they didn't actually want to tell the American public. I thought that was really odd. If you guys are interested, I can tell you that one. I've said that story before. But in my opinion, this will definitely get microplastics out as far as a carbon distiller. If I showed you, I don't know, just some of the stuff in the water. Look at these lists of stuff in the water. And if I were to just pick one of my favorite ones is actually these ones. PFAS. You guys know PFAS, PFOA, or PFOS. Both of those, they call them forever chemicals. Super, super nasty for the body. Darn right scary. So they tested water. And the water had 26 parts per billion of PFOA, and PFOS had 7 parts per billion. After you run it through, well, let's see if you can see this. After you run it through the carbon distiller, so let's see here. So here's the PFOA, PFOS. These are the levels before carbon distillation, after 0. Look at all these zeros. Because this stuff removes everything. It removes all this stuff. You know, normal water filters can't do that. I don't know if you guys understand, the porous systems just don't do that. Bertha says, hi, a protocol to get out of dialysis. Now that's a tough one. Have I done it? Yes, I actually did that with my own brother. But a lot of it depends on how long you've been on dialysis. And the protocol is pretty involved for people with kidney issues. I can't just come out and say it. What I will say is if you want something easy, for anybody with kidney issues, this is not medical advice, no medical claims, you guys know that. First of all, I got an interesting story about this, but this is really interesting, is it has to do first with clean water. There is a funny story about this, and I don't know how much detail I should get into. All I'll say is that there was a guy with kidney issues. They couldn't drink any other water except carbon distilled, which is literally what I'm making, and nobody knew why. Duh, it's because of the contaminants. You need to make things easy on your kidneys, which means no garbage food, which means drinking the cleanest water there is. And if you really want to bring the real healing properties of hydrogen, in my opinion, you absolutely need them when your kidneys are where they're at. So that's just a simple, without going to full protocol mode, which would take probably a couple hours. You have to re-educate people on how to live, which is a tough one, you know. Stop with processed sugars, If you have kidney problems, you definitely have to stop all dairy, all meat, all eggs. You can't be eating that stuff when you're trying to heal your kidneys. You need your blood to be super, super thin and super clean. And then, of course, in my opinion, you really need the hydrogen. GT Hang says, do you think eating meat is okay as long as it's organic, grass-fed, and grass-finished? Well, do I think it's okay? Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I think it depends on what your goals are. Could I eat meat, I don't know, once a week? Yeah, I think it'd be fine if I did it a couple times a week. Me personally, the reason that I like to stay away from, and it's not like I never eat it, but I like to stay away from meat, eggs, dairy, anything ultimately that has hormone in it. And I don't mean added hormone. All those animals, like a deer or a cow, have natural hormones, just like humans have natural hormones. When you introduce hormones into your body, I don't know if people understand this, it throws off your hormones. Your body's having to adapt to these hormones coming in. I'm on a mission right now with my own body to get my body to not get any hormones, and I produce my own hormones. And if you don't introduce them into your body, it doesn't dysregulate them. There's a doctor who did a ton of, he has so much research on that for his patients, mostly female patients. He was able to avoid hysterectomies, all sorts of ovarian issues. He pretty much linked it to hormones. And he was able to get them on diets that had no hormone, and the results were so unbelievable. He has stacks of research, and he's done presentations showing his data. And of course I listened, and I thought it was very interesting. And I see a lot of other data that supports what he's saying, so it's not just coming from one place. Tom Borland says, I love my new distiller. Yes, I would too. Have found that citric acid cleans it beautifully. Absolutely. Just like the hydrogen machine. Again, absolutely. Yes, you need some good citric acid that is designed for cleaning distillers. Very simple and easy to maintain. I agree, and thanks, says Tom. Was it Tom? Yes. Well, you're very welcome. And that's the way I do it. And I think if you want to be healthy, happy, I don't know of any other way to clean your water and make it super awesome with the hydrogen. And thank God, look, I think it was IL who brought it up earlier. Thank God for the company it wasn't just the company, the guy. Do you guys even know the story of the guy who created the Hydrofix? He was like, forget the money. He was doing this for his daughter. And that's why everybody makes this stuff in China. He said, no, forget it. I don't care if this machine doesn't make a bunch of profit. I want the best hydrogen machine in the world for my daughter, myself. And obviously they became the #1 hydrogen machine in all of Japan. And it's actually spreading out throughout the world. People are finding out there's a difference on how you make hydrogen. Anyway, IL says, would a Berkey water filter work with the hydrogen machine? It will work, but it's not the best. I've had a Berkey, I still do, and I don't use it unless it's for emergencies. It just will not be the best. Again, it just depends on how good do you want your water to be. I want mine to be the best, so it's up to you. But yes, you could do it if you wanted to. It'll work. Bertha says, thank you. You're very welcome. Vanessa says, hormones, wow. How about plant hormones like soya estrogens? Okay. I don't think people understand this. Soy doesn't have estrogen in it. Beans, because that's, by the way, that's what soy is, it's a bean. Beans don't have hormones in them. They work with certain receptors that we have. And this is still a huge misconception, and I can't believe this. Vanessa, you probably don't know about the latest data. They made a mistake on the research about the way it thinks it affects estrogen, and everybody's going crazy. What's funny is who consumes more soy than anybody in the world? It appears to be the Japanese. Who lives the longest of any industrialized nation in the world? Whose people live the longest? The Japanese. Don't you find that a little odd that they consume more soybeans than anybody in the world and they're living longer than everybody? The new data actually appears to be that soy is actually really good for you. So everybody who's super scared of it, I mean, do whatever you want, but I eat a lot of it and everything's been going really well. So I love tofu. And natto. Natto might be one of the world's, if not the world's best food. Super food. And that is made of fermented soy. And it is mind-boggling. There's so much research. It's just hard to believe what it does. And it has almost as much protein as beef, but it also has a lot of good enzymes, good bacteria, good, really good for the gut. Thins the blood a little bit, which is a good thing actually, so that it can move better. on it goes. Appears to oxygenate your cells so that, you know, potentially avoiding big cancer bug, you know, anti-cancerous. I mean, it's just crazy amazing stuff. I put it in my smoothies quite often. Okay, Tom says, can hydrogen make you happier? Sounds crazy, but I feel like it raises your vibration. Personally, I think yes, because look, anytime the body's running better, you're gonna feel better. That's just my personal opinion. There is some research that appears to where it suppresses certain stress hormones. And if it gets everything firing on all cylinders, and we know, by the way, the link between the happy chemicals in the brain and the gut, and we also know how amazing hydrogen is for the gut. So in my opinion, yes. And no, of course, Tom, I do think that there's a spiritual component to hydrogen that has not been scientifically discovered yet, but I'm actually looking to raise the roof on that in the future and showcase some of that information. So it'll be interesting. Stay tuned for that one, because I got a new channel I'm going to be opening, by the way. So it's already opened, actually, but I'll be disclosing more of it as I move forward about going to Japan. Vanessa says, yes, I know, because of spending a lot of time in Japan. I eat a lot. I eat a lot too. That's why I was hoping you would say that. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, maybe the only concern would be potentially the GMO soy. One of the things I noticed is they always want to GMO the best stuff. And they GMO'd soy and they GMO'd corn. In my opinion, those are two really, really important foods. And by the way, thanks for all the thumbs up, guys. Well, actually, I only see 6. And I think we've had, I don't know how many hundreds of people come through, but I hope you guys are appreciating the information. I mean, that's really the reason I'm doing it. And I do have to go pretty soon. So any last questions? I got to get going. I didn't really get to talk a lot about oxygen and hydrogen, did I? A1 says non-GMO soy is good for you, but 98% of soy, any place besides Japan, who don't let GMO or bioengineering foods in the country. Yay for Japan, right, guys? You know, you shall judge people by their works. In that regard, I think the Japanese are doing some pretty cool stuff. Look, nobody's perfect or anything, but I love the Japanese. I gotta say, I've had many friends from many different cultures, and I love a whole lot of people, but I gotta say, the Japanese, they're so polite and I don't know, really good people. And I like that they hold honor to the highest level instead of money. And just like the guy who created the Hydrofix, you know, he wasn't just thinking money, 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 like a lot of these other companies do. You know, he wanted to make literally the best and did not want money to get in the way. Okay, let's see. Can a person in dialysis have natto? You probably would want to ask your doctor that, but in my personal opinion, most likely yes. That would be my personal opinion. But you probably want to consult your doctor on that one. But I will say most American doctors don't know anything about natto. The Japanese doctors do tend to. GT Hang says, or G-Thang, I don't know which one it is. Have you tried iodine? Yes, I have. And cilantro oil? No. Well, actually, I think I have many years ago, but I don't need it, you know, so I don't really use it regularly. They're heavy metal detoxifiers and people swear by them. You know, if you really want to detox heavy metals, this is how easy it is. Hydrogen water, and basically good amounts of it going through your body, and lots of fiber. Fiber cleans out the system, detoxes you regularly. So I can use this regularly. I don't have to be buying some other product. That's the thing. I want to get to the best health without buying a million products, to be quite honest with you guys. IL says, do you know of the custom fees for the Hydrofix in Canada? I don't. That would be something you'd want to talk to the company about. But I've had friends in Canada who have ordered machines, and I don't believe it was that much. So A1 says, Japan is awesome. I've studied the culture for years. Honor is all. And see, that's exactly, I love that you said that, A1, and I completely agree. You have to put something above money at some point. And most places I see, they put money number one. I like when honor is number one. You know, then you do things for the right reasons. And so, you know, when people ask, again, people are like, hey, why do you only like this hydrogen machine? I'm trying to do the honorable thing here. I could, like I said, I could literally promote 50 different machines if I wanted to. So, you know, I'm always trying to show you guys not a million different products. I try to show you the minimum and literally what I use. So that's just the way that I do it. People can agree, disagree, whatever. That's just the way that I do it. Let's see. A1 says, you said it while I typed it. Oh, LMAO. Oh, laughing my ass off. Awesome sync. Yeah, I guess we're on the same page. And Bertha says, thank you. And you're very welcome, guys. Okay, any last questions before I let you guys go? This is your chance. Any last questions? Okay, going once, going twice. All right, sold. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys on the next one.